welcome to the chute. It's very exciting. This is my favorite place because the chute is kind of the most important role in the processing shed. So whoever is operating the chute is in charge of the flow of the day, is in charge of making sure everything's done correctly, and is in charge of the safety of the rest of the crew. We are only going to be using these 3 handles. I will tell you what these ones do, but for today's sake, we're just going to be using these 3. So this handle makes the floor wider or narrower, depending on the size of cattle that you are handling at that time. If you have big cows, big bulls, obviously you could make it as wide as possible. If you're doing yearlings or calves, you can tighten it down. This is great because you can do all of the different kinds of cattle with one piece of equipment. It helps it to where when it goes shut on the sides, it squeezes them an appropriate amount so they don't move. So the goal is to stop the movement, to calm them down so that they won't freak out when we're doing anything that we're doing. These 2 are our head sweeps, so you can see here that you can adjust the neck. So if you were giving injections and they wouldn't move their head, or you're doing the blood draws, anything like that, you can use these bars to facilitate that. It's best to have them closed when you are operating the chute. If you leave them open, it's not the end of the world on this kind of setup. There are some chutes though, if you do leave the head catches open, it can be dangerous for the cattle, so just be aware of that. These 2 are not hooked up yet. The goal eventually is one day that there's going to be hydraulic gates out there and they can change the path of the cattle like we do manually at the moment when we want them to go into the alley versus into the pen. So that's what these 2 will be one day. And then this one lifts it up so you can clean under it. Very handy. For today, these are the 3 that we're going to be using. You're always going to go left to right. So this is the head catch, the squeeze, and the back gate. Whenever we're closing it on them or releasing them, we're always going left to right. I like to do with 2 hands. So my left hand, I'm right hand dominant, so my left hand is my dumber hand. So I make it only do one job so that it can focus. And then my right hand is doing the other 2 gates. So with my left hand, I will catch the head. When we start, we're going to go about that wide. We're working with pretty small cattle today, so you can shut it down pretty tight so that even if you do miss, they can't necessarily get out. So you're giving yourself the best chance to catch them. That is the goal, is to catch them. It's a lot harder to entice them back through once you miss them, because now they know that you can miss them. So yeah, the goal is to try to catch them the first time. Today's practice, so obviously these cattle are going to run through multiple times, so they're all going to kind of know what's going to happen to them by the time that they get in here. But the goal is to keep this to give yourself the best chance. Obviously, depending on the size of the cattle, you have to make it smaller or bigger just by their shoulder width. Sometimes too, if they're timid, they won't go even if it's this big. You'll have to make it a little bit bigger. With our squeeze, once we catch the head, we're going to squeeze it all the way. It's very important that you go to the end of this handle no matter what. It's best to stop the momentum. You're not going to hurt them. It's hydraulics, so as soon as it shuts and meets pressure, it stops. So it's not going to keep going to squeeze them to like hurt them. It's going to stop once it meets the resistance.
Is that just for the squeeze though?
That's for all of your handles.
Oh.
So with every single handle, the head catch, everything, it is best to go all the way. You will notice when you don't go all the way, they slip out. So with all your handles, you want to go all the way to the end. Back gate is the last priority. So the first priority is catch the head, squeeze them, then we'll close the back gate. Since we're working today on just catching, sometimes more will get in there. It's important to squeeze the body even if there is multiple cattle in the squeeze area. For the timing on them, if you can see right here, there's like a bar.
Yeah.
If they're moving with purpose and intention and like actually walking, I start to close it when I can see their shoulder past that bar on the front there. If they're hesitant, you have to kind of work the timing a little bit more and go when their head goes through the hole. So that's a little bit harder because they could beat you, but if they're moving with intention, close it when they're right there.
Okay.
No, I'm never looking at the back gate, so I will just shut it. If you catch something in the back gate, we have a like 4-inch gap here. It's not the end of the world. It's kind of like an extra head catch. So if you squeeze them in there, it's okay. And then there's rubber on the whole side, so it's better to stop the momentum so we don't get 2 or 3 in here versus just 1. So with the silencer, your handles are down here. Most of the time with the hydraulic chutes, I've only used this one and one other brand, I can't remember the brand, but it is usually pushed down to catch, pull up to release. One of the best things about the silencer is it is silent, i.e. the name. The hydraulics are pretty quiet. You can hear the machine in there, but with others, it sounds like a very loud air compressor out here, and it gets really tiring for you, but also the cattle are more hesitant to want to enter when they hear that really loud sound. So that's one of the best things about this. Another piece of this is you can move your handles with the silencer to wherever you need them to be, which is a really handy feature.